Hey, this is Matthew Harvey here with the 12 o'clock Siren, recording live at the 903 Broadband Studios on the southeast corner of the downtown Leonard Square.
That's correct.
Yeah, on my left hand is James Djibouti Hartley.
It's where I feel like I just drove from.
Djibouti?
Traffic was terrible. People zipping in and out.
For that?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm just trying to roll with it. Yeah. I don't know what to do with my hands. It's been so long.
Yeah, you were in traffic then?
Yeah, it was terrible. I'm actually coming to realize that I loved the pandemic.
Why's that?
COVID was good because nobody drove anywhere.
Traffic.
Everybody just hung out.
Yeah.
You drank like wine at 10 a.m. in your pajamas while working.
Oh.
You know?
That's what you do?
I don't know. Maybe. It's what some people do. It's
Yeah.
not what I do now. I go to work.
Overall, the pandemic sucked, though. Let's get back to it.
I'm going to be honest. The traffic's terrible.
Yeah.
It made me remember, like, oh, this is why everybody was miserable.
I don't regret my back road travel to work now.
No.
It's kind of nice.
You got a good setup. Anyway, what are we doing here
Man,
today?
I'm really excited to get in this one. We've been talking a little pre-show about the local FFA program and ag program up here at the Leonard High School.
Is that what you were doing while I was white-knuckling at home?
We were waiting for you, and
Yeah.
while we were waiting, we were talking about what they've been doing up there. So I'd like to introduce Mr. John and Sabrina Davis.
Hello, y'all.
Hello.
How are y'all doing?
Did I get that right?
Doing good.
Did I get that right?
Should I
Yes.
get-
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
we
Yeah.
did?
Yes.
Oh.
Good.
There was a
Good.
pause there. We got a little nervous. Like
Yeah.
maybe well, it's not beyond us to introduce someone wrong. I think we've done it before.
Well, I know. I just want to make sure I got it all right. I butchered the last one, I think, and it's been a month and a half. So good to have you here.
It's good to be here.
Where do we start here?
I want to start by getting into both of you how you got into the FFA as kids in high school, and what your relationship is with the FFA to begin with.
Yeah, can we start from the beginning, where you are from and everything?
Absolutely. So, John Davis here. So I'm from Leonard originally. Graduated here 2006, went all the way through. Attended A&M Commerce, started in 2006. Graduated, let's see, 2010.
You graduated in 2006?
I did.
I graduated in 2002.
He graduated
Really?
with my brother.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
But I think I've aged better.
You have.
I
definitely.
think I've
Yeah.
aged better.
Better than Brett for sure. I don't know about me. I don't know. I've aged pretty well.
No,
I've kind of aged out.
aged
Not
out.
Oh, I like that.
I like it. No, I graduated 2006 and then graduated with a bachelor's of agriculture science. What is it?
Agriculture science, technology,
and education.
and education.
And then I went to work, and I've been in it for this is 11 years. I took a year off. Yeah, right. I stopped working for a year, went back and did just private sector, and then Sabrina took, and I picked up with that and kept teaching. So this is going to be your 10th year, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be your 10th year.
And next year will start my 10th year of teaching.
Cool.
And together, it feels like over 100 years.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
I
playing.
doubt that.
Yeah.
What was your involvement in FFA in high school?
So when I was in high school, we mostly showed livestock. That's pretty much what I did from 8th grade all the way through senior year.
Okay.
Was that a lifelong interest, or one day did you just wake up and you're like, I want to lead a heifer around by the rope?
No, so we raised cattle growing up, and it was
Okay.
kind of one of those deals where my dad was big in the FFA, and so was my uncle and my grandfather even then. So it's kind of one of those deals where I was like, hey, I want to go put a rope halter on a heifer and get drugged for days and then take it. But no, I mean, traveled to hundreds of shows and stuff, and it became a passion. I did not go to school to be an ag teacher. I actually went to school to be an entomologist.
That's interesting.
And you know how
Working with
that-
words?
Bugs?
it is, though. Yes, absolutely bugs. And it was kind of like
No.
2008. The economy was so amazing,
Yeah.
and like it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, by the way, entomology, not a good field. I was like,
Yeah.
well, what could I do with all this, these credits and stuff? And Dr. Williams, A&M Commerce, like, you should be a school teacher. We laughed, everyone laughed and stuff, and then I started the teaching block. I started the teaching block, and I really enjoy it. And that's where I met Sabrina at A&M Commerce in the computer lab and stuff like that. She was in there working. I was not, which is why it took me so long to get everything situated. But that's pretty much it. And then I've been teaching for.
And Miss Sabrina, where do you come from, and what's your involvement with the FFA?
I'm actually from Pecan Gap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I went to public school up until about the 8th grade, and I wasn't fortunate enough to continue school. So I actually have a GED. I did that when I was 17. Never was in the FFA. I did barrel race and did rodeo drill team for a while. When I started college, I thought that I wanted to be a veterinarian. I went to Paris Junior College for my first year, and when I transferred to A&M Commerce, Dr. Bob, I met Dr. Bob, and he said, you need to be an ag teacher. You'd be good at it. So I thought about it for a while, and I decided, okay, I'll be an ag teacher, and that's what I did. I graduated with my bachelor's in 2011 from A&M Commerce, and then I went right into my master's degree and graduated in 2012 with a master's degree.
Excellent.
Didn't you graduate like summa cum laude or whatever that
I
stuff
did.
is?
I graduated
Summa cum
with,
laude?
with honors.
I think
yes.
summa cum barely passed.
Yeah, I'm 37
I didn't
and
do
I
that.
don't have a degree at all. Period. So
I got
all
a
of y'all
degree.
are ahead of me.
I got a degree in radio, TV, film, so
Yeah.
here we are. Doing
We
a
have
free,
made it.
a free podcast in my basement.
Yeah,
But
and happy that I brought beef jerky.
I was
Oh,
just
I
happy
like
you
it.
brought Robertson's beef jerky. That's
Oh, yeah.
exciting. So you do veterinarian classes at Leonard High School
I do,
now.
yes.
So you're we talked. You've helped people help
Yes,
kids
so
get.
I have helped at every school I've been at. I have actually certified kids, even here at Leonard. I have certified kids. It's called a CVA, Certified Vet Assistant. And through the class, they take my class. We learn about all kinds of skills that you do in a vet clinic. And while they're with me in the class, they also, on their own time, they have to volunteer at a local vet clinic for 300 hours. And that veterinarian
Oh, good.
the veterinarian actually signs off for them on skills that they have to perform or explain to the vet. And if they get everything from the vet, they get everything from me. They take the test at the end of the year. And if they pass, they become a certified vet assistant, and they can go directly to work after high school if they don't plan to go to college, or if they're wanting to pursue a career in the veterinary field. They're one step further,
Is
one
that
step
amazing
closer.
or what?
That's pretty
How cool is
amazing.
that?
We didn't have stuff like that.
No, I don't. I mean, maybe they weren't. We didn't take advantage of it or something. I don't know.
No,
But
we
it
didn't have
seems
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I will say, when I first started my first year at Leonard, we did not offer the vet science class. It had never been offered at Leonard. My second year, when John came on board, that's the first year I actually certified kids. And this year I actually didn't teach it. I will say that there's not much interest at Leonard. That's why we talked about a while ago adding the floral design class. There's a lot of kids interested in the floral design class that I'm going to be teaching next year. Which is where they'll learn how to make floral arrangements for different events, whether it's a wedding or Valentine arrangement, funeral arrangement, things like that. And we'll do wreaths, painted signs, and just little activities throughout the year.
Arches.
Yes, and with that class, there's a certification for that as well. They'll get their level 1 floral certification.
I made my first balloon arch about
I was
3
gonna say,
weeks
how'd you
ago.
know
Yeah.
that? Pinterest?
That's perfect.
You messing around on Pinterest,
went-
Matthew?
We were at my wife's friend's 40th birthday party, and we did a big balloon.
Yes,
She,
yes.
of course, Pinterest videoed or whatever, and we figured it out. It was fun.
Uh,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Didn't we should know this because we interviewed them too? But didn't Amber Bonds Bates? She did something with floral, like horticulture, I guess, at Tech,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway,
I believe so.
so sorry.
Yeah.
Moving on.
That's freaking cool.
It is.
That's awesome. Y'all are doing some good stuff.
Well, the cool thing is, Sabrina and I, we kind of, like, if something like, Sabrina's been doing veterinarian stuff for like, what, 8-9 years?
8-9 years.
And it's like, you introduce it, and the kids go, but then they don't show up. We just kind of adapt and overcome, kind of shift the program a little bit to, like, I did an engines class this year, and then they're COVID, so there's that. And I was kind of like, hey, we're going to do more welding. And so, because, getting engines in and all that stuff. And so now you have a group of kids around an engine. And I was like, wow, that's a good way to spread COVID. So you have separate booths and, we had to buy extra helmets, sanitize them, take the bands out,
Yeah.
talk about uncomfortable. And Sabrina's kind of the same way. She's like, my numbers aren't where I need them. But like right now, veterinarians, it's hard to get kids into that because it pays a lot. But I mean, even if you go to the
that's
colleges,
a common interest.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
youth.
Yeah, I would think. I guess
Yeah.
we're wrong there.
What? So you graduate high school. You're a certified veterinary assistant. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
Yes.
What type of pay does that to bring it to
Honestly,
the real world here?
$12 to $15 an hour.
There you go.
it's not
Out
bad.
of high school.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not bad.
Boom. Yeah, it's a good little start.
Yeah.
You said engine class. Is that like the breakdown?
Well,
You see those breakdown teams. Is that kind of where that leads?
similar. I really wanted it to be, you know how you picture the beginning of the year because every kid's perfect and they're going to show up and do all the work. But I was like, oh, we're going to do an engines class. I'm going to teach those kids so much stuff about diesels. I might have taught them how a 4-stroke works and a 2-stroke before we decided, hey, let's go on some 60-10 electrodes
and start welding. Yeah.
And it was kind of, and they were interested, but then they weren't. And I was like, I just got to overcome this. And that's one of my best welders come out of this year was the engines class.
See, I've mentioned this before.
This is what I did for 30 minutes before you showed up. I was like, man.
Yeah. Well, I have all this interest, but here I am at 37 with no skills.
Yeah. And YouTube.
Yeah, and YouTube. I feel like I'm just going to kill myself, really. So.
With a welder?
Or anything.
As
any
a
of
result of not learning.
I don't, yeah, that.
Please don't do that.
Yeah. I'm trying to build a kit plane here, and,
So you mentioned vet, you mentioned flowers, you mentioned engines. There's obviously showing and other classes. How does it work? Like when you register for that class, are you registering for an ag class and then you have different things you teach within it, or are there specific classes?
So there's specific classes depending on what grade you're in. The counselor, Miss Littrell and Miss Hutchings, they will send out, I guess a pre-registration form, and the kids fill that out, and they pick what they want to be in for their electives. And I know this year they had on there the different classes we'll teach next year, and the kids will say, well, I want to take floral design next year, or I'm going to offer equine science again next year. They can pick equine science, livestock production, and they pick what they want to be in, and if it fits their schedule, then that's what they'll be in.
Cool.
So, step back here. Y'all got to Leonard, right? There was some room for improvement. That's fair to say, right?
Yes,
with the
yes.
program.
Mm-hmm.
What's your process for that? Just one little bit at a time, the whole eat an elephant thing, and
Yeah, so I started here in 2017 as a single teacher, and my main goal, I'd never been a single teacher before. I'd always had a teaching partner, and my main goal was to grow the program, and that's what they told me when they hired me. If you grow the program, we'll hire somebody to help you. We'll hire you a teaching partner, and so that was my main goal. And at every school I've been at, we've always done LDEs, which are leadership development events, which happen in the fall, and then career development events, which happen in the spring. Leonard had maybe one LDE team and one CDE team before I got here. I had probably 5 LDE teams and 5 CDE teams. My first year, our principal, Mr. Mason, he actually traveled with me to help transport kids. Because I don't have a CDL, and I don't really want to get one.
I don't blame you. That brakes test is not easy.
No.
Don't want to do it.
The brakes test.
Capel YMCA, huh?
Uh-huh.
So he traveled with me, and interest for ag really grew, and it grew enough that there were so many kids interested, they decided, well, we're going to hire somebody to help you, and I was fortunate enough for them to hire my husband, John.
A very handsome man, John Davis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very handsome man. No, and just to kind of piggyback off what Sabrina said, so sometimes you go in these programs and it's like, hey, John, by the way, we're the most successful program ever, and you're like, man, it's big shield, big shoes. There we go to fill, and it was kind of nice. I'm like, well, they haven't been a double teacher or a tandem teacher, or had a female teacher, or had a married couple. What could go wrong with this scenario?
Yeah.
And no, I mean, we took out one of the
Did you
other
say
rooms.
married as well?
Married as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's never happened either.
No.
I don't think Claxton and Wallace were married, were
No.
they?
No.
I want to get into the history
Yeah.
of the FFA too, while we're at it.
And I get all the time. It's like, how does Sabrina put up with you? And I'm like, well, we have Xanax. No, I'm just no. Sabrina and I get along really well. And Sabrina has her classroom. She does her thing. I don't step on her toes. Like she has her team. She does. Like there's a it's pretty old school. We call it farm skills. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm too far away from the mic.
Actually, y'all are doing wonderfully.
Good. There's like it's called farm skills, and now I don't know what's the name of it. They call it now.
It's farm skills.
Farm skills demonstrator.
Farm
plus-
skills demonstration.
Okay, there we go. Sabrina beats me every time we would be at other schools, so
My skill is to check vital signs and perform first aid on a dog. And up until this year, we were using a live dog.
It was
Using an actual
intense.
dog, and they performed first aid on a dog and checked vital signs.
My first year, we made a chicken light.
Wow.
So I'm like,
A chicken what?
it's like a chicken brooder heat light. It was embarrassing. And so I was like, hey, when we start doing this, do you want to do it? And she's like, well, I beat you every year, so I should do this.
I feel like for our quotable quotes, this is going to be a good episode. I made a chicken light.
Just wait until we get into cow judging terminology.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We did CPR on a dog.
Yeah. You heard it here on the Siren.
Absolutely.
That's going on a shirt.
So speaking of the history of the FFA, I mentioned Claxton and Wallace. That's how, as far as we went back pre-show.
Yes.
Can you lay out some of the former teachers of the FFA?
Well, I see we were cleaning out the closet the other day, and we found books from the 1930s because, the facilities was built,
Oh, wow.
1973. And then, so they established charter in 37.
Mm-hmm.
Sabrina and I have been trying to figure out who the first ag teacher was. We saw some stuff the other day that said Marshall Driver, and I haven't connected the dots on if that was a student, because it's been the book was from it was so long that the word livestock was 2 words before Webster dictionary made that 1 word. So I don't know if anybody knows.
Do you know the year on that?
That book was like 19.
No,
Not-
when
it
they
was-
put the words together.
Oh.
That's a fascinating.
No, I don't
enough.
know that.
little
Right after World
detail.
War II. I feel like since we won, we got to change a lot of stuff. So we're like, you know what? That's gonna be 1 word.
Yeah.
But no,
It's
sorry.
post World War II now.
Yeah,
Things
it's
are
like, hey,
different.
we're gonna call them French fries, not be offended. But no, it started in 37, I think November. We actually have the original charter sheet hanging in Sabrina's classroom. It's like written like you used to do you dipped it in the ink and you
Yeah.
crossed over on those little lines on there. I can't think of the name of that. What do you call
Inkwell, Quill.
that? Quill. That's what I was trying to think
Yeah.
of. So
Quill.
it's pretty old school.
Yeah.
Well, we're trying to sit down and try to figure out how it ended up because we've got history up until like Mr. Griffith was there because Dad was there in the 70s because Dad's getting on up there. I know Dad's not listening to this. So we can say whatever we want. But no,
I'm going to send him the link.
It'll
He'll
get,
he'll get it.
it'll get back to
he'll
him.
be like, is that on FaceSpace or my book or something?
Tweeter,
Tweeter, Instagrammy.
The Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitters.
No, so we were talking about this earlier. So there was the 2 teachers were, and I talked to Mr. Claxton about this a little bit, but I have the memory of a fainting goat. Sabrina knows. She'll tell me something at lunch, and by 3 o'clock, I was like, "What are we doing today?" She's like, "We have a radio thing tonight at 6." I was like, "Oh, it's 5:30. I should probably put a shirt on," and yeah.
Is
Hey,
that
don't
explain
call
why
it-
you're shirtless?
Don't
Oh.
call us radio.
So it would have been, let's see, Mr. Claxton's telling me he taught with Mr. Wallace in 80, I think it was 80 and up until 83. And then Mr. Claxton went to
So
Bland.
they taught as a duo.
They taught as a duo.
Wallace and Claxton
Uh-huh.
taught as a duo. Claxton that was was in Bland. Eric was taught under Claxton.
Yes.
Um,
So that would have been.
Wasn't there a-
Bob Williams also.
Oh, yeah, taught there.
He was actually mine and John's advisor at A&M Commerce. He taught at Leonard. I think it was 83, 84-ish, somewhere in there.
So if you think about it, from like the 70s until now, you've got like maybe 5 people
Yeah.
in a chapter. So you go to East Texas, it's like when I took Winona, it's like, hey, you're number 721, and
Congratulations.
congratulations. Like we had 3 in 1 semester because it's just different. It's different.
You're number
So,
721. We're interviewing for next year.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So Wallace stayed until must have been 98 or 99.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
I had Dickerson.
Yep. Mr. Dickerson.
He was
in,
right after
in my
Wallace,
senior
right?
year, and then I understand Robertson
Yep.
followed.
Mr.
Roberts.
Roberts. Mr. Roberts.
Mr. Roberts.
Yeah,
I
he
never
came in
met him.
01. Yeah, he came in 01 and then taught until Sabrina.
2017 is when
Yep.
the spring of 2017 he resigned from Leonard.
Where'd
And,
Dickerson go? I've got him on Facebook.
I don't know where he went.
I'm gonna tell you, I traveled a many miles with Mr. Roberts. He'd always crack me up because like we'd get in the truck, and he's a coach ag teacher at heart. Like he's really hardcore. I still crack up. But like we get in the truck and I'm like, I wonder is he gonna listen to Kesha? What's he gonna listen to? Nope, he's gonna listen to WBAP. And we're going to talk about scores, about teams I don't. And I'm like, yes, they did great. The Broncos were amazing. That's not, I don't really know what's going on.
Broncos scored a
Yeah,
grand slam.
They scored a grand slam on their
Good.
turf over in New York.
Go Dan Elway.
I didn't. And it was so funny spending all those hours. And then I don't know how many miles I traveled with him, and his son Spencer showed with us and stuff. And that's kind of what got me into it. I was like, I like this, but then, I got into college. I was like, into entomology, that's $150,000 a year. Teaching is not $100,000 a year. But entomology, I'm just going to let y'all know, that is incredibly boring.
It sounds amazing, but color me surprised that it's boring.
So I took Chem 1, Chem 2, OChem 1, OChem 2, and I teach high school. So the kids come out, chemistry? Nope. No, I do not know chemistry. I will not help you on your homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is entomology? Sorry.
It's a study of like crop science bugs. So that didn't come out the way I wanted it. It's a study of bugs.
They talk
Is
about
that
it
the
on
same one you said earlier?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you said entomology.
Yeah.
Entomology.
Like EN?
Mhm.
Yeah.
ENT.
Okay. I was thinking AN.
They talk about it a lot on CSI. That's the only reason I know. Here's no college degree here, so
Bugs on CSI.
yeah. Because the guy, the one dude on CSI, he determines how long the body's been there by the larvae
Yep.
stage.
Makes
He's
sense.
an entomologist.
Gotcha.
Anyway, pop culture teaches
There
you
you go.
something. Watch TV, kids. Watch more TV.
I learned from The Simpsons. There you go. You
They're
got
still on
CSI.
TV, though.
Yeah.
I love The Simpsons.
They are, and they get things right.
They do.
I got a time travel device.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. All right. Where were we on the?
I totally lost track.
Talking about the history.
Sabrina came in 2016.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sabrina
Right,
came in
that's
2017.
17.
2017.
That's when
2017.
Roberts was out.
Yes.
Yes.
Miss Davis at that point
Mhm.
Yes.
enters, and then we are here. So one question I asked you before the show was, how has the FFA program and ag program changed since I was there in 2000?
John,
And
you'll
you
have
had a
to answer
loaded,
that.
you had a
I
loaded
probably-
question, and we can go a number of ways with this.
No,
but-
no. So it's a great question. So Mr. Roberts is really great, still is amazing with livestock and stuff like that. He loves it. As a single teacher, you have to kind of pick and choose. We always talk about the hill you want to die on. So you've got a program. If you become a jack of all trades and a master of none, you got to make yourself happy. It's like if you're, like I say, you're a coach and you coach one particular thing and you get good at it. Even though you coach other subjects, you really want to get good at that one thing. Like, for example, when I left high school and I went to college and then I got out, I was like, I want to run a big heifer show string. So when I went to Northwest, I ran a really big one. And so when Sabrina took Leonard, the show string had really had not diminished. And when
Just
I say
dwindled.
had dwindled down. The average cost of cattle has went up. A lot of kids aren't interested in stuff. And so if that's what you do, that'd be like going to Northwest and being the best basketball coach. And Leonard's like, hey, do you want to come here? And you see your roster lineup and you're like, that's my C team over there. You want to keep chasing that
Sure.
ideology stuff. So it was kind of one of those things where so Sabrina was she was teaching by herself and I was out driving trucks. That's fun. And it's real fun.
Teaching how to drive trucks?
No, I was actually driving,
okay.
so like going all over, like we're doing oil field. It sounds fun.
Did you operate a CB radio at any given
I
time?
did not put one in there. I feel like I would have gotten in trouble. I'm like,
Man,
well, because when you get to the truck stops at nights, that's when you use the CB.
I thought that's the only reason to drive a truck, so you can mess with the CB.
Right.
So you've got your
absolutely.
CDL then?
Yes,
Okay,
Class
so you
A.
drive on the trips
I
then?
do.
Yes,
I
yes,
drive
he
the
does.
trips. And so going back to like 01, and times have changed too. Cell phones, holy mackerel. So like, I remember before the Razor came out, you had those Nokia bullet prep. Pretty sure the military used those as actual weapons.
Oh, yeah.
So like technology was changed. So like CNC machines, MIG welding processes, all of the like for example, San Antonio has a huge ag mech show, and they give the same level like $10,000 scholarship to kids that they gave to heifers, but they didn't really, or steers or sheep, goats, whatever you're doing, but they really didn't start that to 01. So like the level we're at now, it's really become competitive in the past 10 years. So like even when I was in school, we welded. We learned all that stuff. Mr. Roberts taught us how to weld. He got there 60-13s. We laid beads. It was fun. But then at the time, the cattle side was huge. Livestock showing was huge, which is still a big thing.
That's kind
now.
of where I was at. We never applied that.
Right.
Is that
I think that's a fair statement. Yeah.
Well, like right
And I don't
now,
know if there was a possibility of doing it if like I didn't take the advanced class or something, or if I just didn't hang around long enough, maybe.
I think that's
And that may have been
probably,
it too.
Yeah.
Like bell rang, I'm gone.
and that's we really didn't travel to the majors on the ag mechanics side because that puts a lot. Like for example, Sabrina was teaching by herself, and she went to Fort Worth by herself, and she had never taught ag mechanics at that level, and taken kids to an ag mechanics show at that level, and she'll tell you the stress level of doing something competitive outside of your comfort zone can be exhausting, and so
Yeah.
trying to do 23 things, which Sabrina and I, before we came to Leonard, we'd had a lot of success in other areas. So it's kind of like ag mech doesn't stress me out. So I like to do other stuff. I do. So if kids like to do livestock, like I'm not real good. The kids know this. I'm good with some things and I'm okay with others, but I don't mind like picking up the phone like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. And I think that that's what the kids see. But there are more outlets now. Like for example, there's an ag mechanics show at every major. They even have Turkey Federation shows now. Like there's so many outlets now that weren't. Yeah, and it's crazy that they weren't available.
What's it called?
Yeah.
Deep in the
What is that? What is that on the turkey? The waddle?
Waddle.
The waddle.
Yeah, the waddle.
turkey's deep in the waddle. Is that a show term?
I know.
Yeah, I tried.
How do you judge that turkey? By its waddle.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
You're perfect.
Plume.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Plume.
Anyway, sorry, folks. It's been a while. Okay. Well, so the depth and breadth of ag then has probably
It's grown too.
It's grown not just in
Sounds
Leonard,
like it.
just in
Everywhere.
general,
Yeah,
right?
in general.
How many members in the Texas FFA? 155,000.
Yes, about.
155,000 are paid FFA members.
Those numbers growing.
Yes,
Yes.
every year.
Yeah.
I would say
pretty cool.
I think 2006, my your graduation brochure from the state was like 70,000, 60,000. So it's blown up. It's like it's gotten big. We were talking about earlier. The National FFA is taking in the Virgin Islands now. So like our opening ceremonies have changed.
Okay.
I asked if the presentation, I guess, went from Maine to Hawaii and from Alaska, and he stopped me and he goes, it's not to Puerto Rico anymore. It's down to the Virgin Islands. So they changed the words up to the reporters.
Is that right?
Right? Is that the reporter?
Yes, the
That's right.
reporter.
The reporter's little
Wow.
meeting monologue.
On the parliamentary procedure.
Interesting.
You remember any of that?
Mm-mm.
No.
Y'all all got your jackets. I didn't.
Oh, you didn't get a jacket?
I didn't get a jacket.
Oh man.
I know. I'm upset with myself, to be honest. Like I'm not in the club.
Yeah. Where was I going with that? How do you break up in? You've got showing, you've got mechanics. How do y'all break up categorically? I guess.
Like responsibilities.
Yeah.
Um,
And do the kids cross them all? Like, are
Yes,
some
they
kids
do.
in all of
Yes,
them, or is it
absolutely.
just
yes.
okay?
So we actually have kids that do everything. They show livestock, they do ag mechanics, they do LDEs and CDEs. And John and I we split the responsibilities. Like I'll train my teams. Like I train the horse judging team for career development events. I will train the farm skills team for LDEs. This year he trained the land judging team for CDEs and LDEs. He trained the radio team. So we just kind of split responsibilities on what we train. He mostly does the ag mechanics. He's in charge of it. I'm there as moral support. Anything the kids need, I'm there to help them.
The best moral support.
Yes. Livestock, we split those responsibilities as well. I travel with sheep and goats. John travels with swine and cattle. I mean, we don't have any cattle right now on feed, but if we were to, he would travel with them. We don't have like rabbits or chickens or anything at the major level. We do have them at county level, and I help those kids with their
What's
projects.
the difference between major and county level?
So county level is just your local Fannin County. Everybody in Fannin County is eligible to show at the county show. Major is everybody in the state.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. Well, and the way Sabrina and I do it is, so there was a massive heifer show string back in the day. Mr. Roberts had a massive show string. And I would say it's probably one of the biggest and most competitive in the state. So it was really cool. And you got an ag, you're like, man, I'm going to get to be a part of that and stuff. It's it's changed a lot. Like your demographics change in your community. What Sabrina and I do a little bit different is we don't really push off on kids like, hey, this is what you should do versus here's what you can do, and let them kind of fall
Give
into
them an
it.
option, and they get to choose. Well, I want to
Yeah.
do this.
Now it makes
You
your
don't want
pro-
to force a kid to showing something because
Right.
God
No.
knows it's a
Yeah.
lot of time and money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and what it does to us, it creates a very fluid program, which can be exhausting. So what I mean is a kid can be like, I know I went to state last year on radio. I really want to go to land, and I'm thinking this kid's awful at land, but go for it, cowboy. And so you create fluidity, and sometimes it costs you. We call it the banners. It costs you the banners. Sabrina's looking at the
Can you
microphone.
clarify radio?
So we have a actually, Sabrina, you want to explain radio?
It's FFA radio broadcasting, so it's a script. You trained it. What was the script about this year? I can't remember.
She's like, you trained it, John. You do your. We did the script.
Well, what they do.
So y'all do this up there?
Yes.
Yes,
We
basically.
do
So
this.
this year
Yeah.
everything this year was virtual. So we had to actually record it on a cell phone and send it in. But like in-person contest, the kids go into a room with 3 microphones. Sometimes there's one, and the 3 kids have to share it. And they go through their script. So they have their script in front of them. They just go through it.
What did we do this year?
I can't remember.
I can't either. We're terrible teachers.
Man.
They did really good.
They did. They did. They placed 3rd in district.
So
this
you know,
year.
we've got local.
I was going to
District
suggest
area.
way back that if they did anything of the sort of that and they wanted to put it out, like we can put it out if they'd like to broadcast
Oh,
their stuff
yeah.
and have
Yeah.
have people actually listen to it.
Mhm.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure people do, but we
right, but
publish
it's,
it.
it's
and we,
mostly just for
Yeah.
contests.
they can
but
share
yeah.
it on Facebook
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's open to you.
See, and doing stuff like this opens the book. Sabrina and I are trying to build a program that's
Well-rounded.
well-rounded.
Yeah. Radio. I was like, what do cows have to do with radios?
So believe
What's
it or
going
not,
on here?
a lot of people can't fathom it, but we're really not. Excuse me. Too much hot pepper. We're a leadership group. So we have elected officers. They have meetings. They go over stuff. They work together to figure out stuff that's not working in the program. Tell us. And they actually control a lot of the funding on our activity accounts and stuff like that. But we do. So Sabrina hadn't really gone into detail like what so the LDEs are leadership development events. Those occur early in the year, and that is they wear the official dress, the suit, the tie, all the stuff that goes with it from all the contests. All the contests?
No, skills demonstration.
Skills doesn't. That'd be
Um,
a disaster.
They actually wear scrubs because it's a
right.
vet-related skill, so they wear scrubs. And other teams, whatever their skill is, they can wear attire that pertains to their certain skill.
But like for example, I'm trying to think. I can't think. It's been a long day. Today we had what would you call today? A fun day?
Today was field day.
Today
John
was-
and I got to sit at the door and chase down the kids that tried to escape.
Hey kids, you can't leave.
Three-legged
Man,
races.
the kids burning off in the sunset. Hey, that kid just left. I'm gonna go get Dr. Pepper and document it.
Somebody might want to grab that
Yeah.
kid.
It's-
I did FFA radio.
Did you?
Not in any formal sense, but I went to an FFA camp down in Junction, Texas, at the A&M Extension campus down there. And they said, hey, do you want to go on the radio and talk about what you're doing? And I said, sure. I had no idea what I was doing, but I got on there and blabbed,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it was awesome.
Talk about Sandy Loam and stuff.
Oh, yeah, we were doing types of, we were talking about side oats grama,
Sido drama. There you go.
and native grasslands. Anyway, so I got on there and blabbed.
Sorry about that.
You're fine. That's perfect.
Nah, we
What would,
like-
I can't even think of all the contests, Brandon. So we have
There's job interview.
job
There's
interview,
Creed speak.
Sorry.
Job interview.
This is leadership development.
Yes,
correct?
leadership development. There's job interview. There's Creed speaking. There's the FFA radio broadcasting. There's ag advocacy. There is the skills demonstration. There's also green hand skills, which would be your entry level. So your principles of ag kids, which is their first ag class. And at Leonard, it can be an 8th grader or a freshman, since Leonard does offer principles of ag to the 8th graders. So there's green hand skills and green hand Creed speaking.
I feel like I should
there's-
have taken that probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing it now.
Yeah, I know. Like, hey, y'all tutor.
Look at you
Yeah,
out there getting it.
that's it. Maybe I'll get my jacket after all.
Got to talk to these two.
Honorary member.
Honorary
Yeah,
member.
right.
Yeah.
Might have to go back and like recite the
The Creed.
creed.
I'll
Yeah.
do
You
it.
do. You have to memorize the Creed.
Yeah.
I can learn that. That's no problem.
I think we should maybe enter James to do that for the next year's benefit.
Could you see me like some sort of redneck Billy Madison out there?
No, the didn't y'all have an auction?
Yes, we
We
did.
Yeah, we can auction James off as the Creed reader.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah,
I'll do it
That'd be cool.
that would
out
be.
there. If somebody gives me a jacket,
We'll get into that later.
I'll borrow yours. I don't know if
the
I'll fit,
the
though.
auction. I want to talk about that. All right, so livestock shows, mechanical shows,
Ag mechanics.
Yeah, ag mechanics.
ag mechanics. Is that's together?
Mhm.
You've got land judging.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
That-
assuming these are all
Cities.
events.
Yes.
Yes.
So how do you want to break that up? Let's talk about some of those and how your kids are doing in them, because I know y'all been busy
Oh, yeah.
for the past half year.
Well, do you want to talk
with
about
the shows?
mechanics? We did really well with ag mechanics this year.
Oh yeah, so ag mechanics something a little bit different. Like I said, it's new. Like in the concept of like Leonard, like let's take it to a highly competitive level. You
Very impressed when I saw this on Facebook. I had no idea about it. I
Right,
was like,
right.
God, these kids are making
well, and
gates and stuff.
a lot of people they get on me like, John, there's still a ton of livestock. I was like, we love livestock. We like that's our bread and butter. Livestock's bread and butter. But ag mechanics reaches a group of kids that aren't that. They're not like they come in and they're like, what do you want to do when you graduate? Oh, oil field. I'm like, that's great. It's crashed right now, but when it comes back in the next 100 years, you can have a job. But no, ag mechanics kind of fills that void of, all right, I've got a kid that's good at fabricating, but doesn't want to show livestock. And so we build stuff, like a lot of stuff. And there's we built like positioner shop table this year. We built an overhead gantry system last year. We built 2 double 14-foot entry gates this year. But there's a lot to it. There's like we do all of it. They fabricate it, they design it. We have to have it in an AutoCAD style format. They always wait till the last minute. I feel like Sabrina and I are drawing that about midnight in the hotel, and she's
Yeah.
yelling
See,
at me.
we learned what the definition of AutoCAD was
Right.
in high school. That's where we were.
That's it. Yeah.
That's
Like,
exactly.
man, that'd be cool to learn
that's
about.
Exactly where we were.
And I'll say the kids do all of the fabrication.
They do every bit of it.
We're just kind of there, mostly John. We're just kind of there to supervise. The kids do the welding. The kids do the cutting. They do everything.
Even the painting.
Yeah, even the painting.
You should see that set up.
Their ideas, suggestions by you guys, or guidance on that? or-
John comes up. He does a lot of research on what might win the show, what might place at the show, and we kind of go from there and we build off of that.
And it sounds silly, but like a lot of times you have a class where it's like, I want to build a gooseneck, and and you look at the gooseneck and you're like, well, last year they, let's say the cheapest gooseneck there was $25,000. You're going to have 25 to 30,000 plus better welds, different paint and stuff. So we try to shoot for classes, and we do a lot of research while we're there. The kids are showing, and while they're there, we're walking around, and we did really good. We took 4 projects this year, and we placed 3 of them. Which to place, like to kind of put in perspective, like at San Antonio or Houston, how big is that building? It's over a
it's
mile
huge,
long. It's a
yeah.
mile long, and it's the same thing on the livestock side. If you ever go to the heifer show, or the sheep show, or the goat show, or the hog show, like it's massive. But walking in there right after the heifers and steers have just finished up and everything, and like I said, mechanic's still kind of new. I say it's new; it's been around since the '80s, but that's fairly new considering livestock judging has been around since the '30s, and it fills half the building. They have to take all the pins down, move everything over, but like you have 2A, 3A, your classifications. So in the FFA, we don't have that. There's no, you're split up by,
Is everybody together?
yes. So
you have-
your class
Right.
or your division.
So like if you might be going against Frisco Centennial that just dropped 50,000 on a, what did they build last year? Is a massive,
Like a combine.
no,
They built a farm.
yeah, they 3D printed the King Ranch.
It's on display in Kings County.
they built a 10-foot long shear, hydro shear, something crazy.
Yeah.
But they build, you'll see kids, Vega out in West Texas, they are massive. Like, how many kids think they have? Probably
Oh, gosh,
150
a
in
lot.
ACMEC.
Yeah.
And
That's like the population of the town.
it's
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
It's pretty
That's,
much
that's pretty much what they do up there is ag mechanics.
Cactus Feeder supplies them. They've got the dinero to operate. That's what
Wow.
it takes dinero to make it work. But we try to build stuff that matches that. Now the kids will come up and say, like this year, like we should build a welding trailer. So I show them the welding trailers. About 30 minutes, like we're not going to win the welding trailers. I said, yeah, let me do some thinking and we'll figure. Now if someone comes forward and says, hey, I want to build something, we have a waiting list. My waiting list keeps getting bigger and bigger because I want the kids to kind of taste the whole victory thing. And so it's kind of like when you're going to go out and you're going to buy a hog. You can spend as much as you want or as little as you want, but you're not going to find, a Houston hog for $20. You're going to have to spend thousands, whatever. Whereas we kind of upset Houston. Was it last year?
It was the year before.
Year before. Did we have Houston?
No, COVID happened last year and Houston was canceled.
Thanks, COVID. No, it was thanks
COVID.
COVID. Well, and what's exciting is we had COVID during San Antonio AgMex. We didn't get to go, or really
This year, yeah, we actually had COVID.
Yeah.
any of the.
I'm in
any
that
of the
club
live
too.
stuff.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Was it bad for y'all?
I got pneumonia.
Sabrina
Yeah,
had it.
It was bad.
I was down hard. The rest of my family sweated it out one night.
That was pretty much John. I was down
You
for the count.
Let me tell him how I knew I had COVID.
Couldn't smell.
He couldn't taste.
That was bad. But I was sitting on the bed, and I love fruit snacks, and they were over there.
Oh,
Fruit
yeah.
snacks.
I love fruit snacks
I was
too.
like, Sabrina,
I thought it was going to be a bad cooking story or something. Oh, this is great, honey.
Yeah.
Best you've ever done.
Yeah.
I was
Tastes
like,
like cardboard.
Yeah.
babe, I can't move, and I really want those strawberries fruit snacks. Can you get them for me? She's like, you have COVID. And I was like, that's the determining factor. And then, of course, just to tell a little story on Sabrina, she calls me on anything. Like, I could be like telling a story,
I
and
made
it's
him
not
taste lemon
it.
juice, and I made him taste a
Oh,
diet
good,
root beer,
yeah.
everything.
They
I didn't
shouldn't-
believe him.
Never
Yeah.
should have made diet root beer. That stuff's nasty.
What's the grossest thing you ate?
I think the lemon, you should have seen his face.
Well, you imagine the texture of no flavor of lemon. She's
That
like,
does
"Here."
kind of.
My eyes are closed. She's like, here, try this. And I put it in my mouth, and I'm like, she hates me. She's wanting a divorce, and she's feeding me poison. No.
I never thought the texture thing would be a big deal. But Jim did a thing on Facebook eating everything.
Yeah, so
weird
when I
and-
couldn't taste, I couldn't eat because it
The
made
texture,
me
yeah.
it made me sick to my stomach because I couldn't taste it and just the texture I couldn't deal with it.
My wife works at the time worked at a nursing home,
Yeah.
and so she was just heading into work one day, and she said she'd had coffee with a friend that morning, and she said the coffee tasted off, but not enough to notice.
Yeah.
Like she was just kind of like, this coffee's not very good. And then she got to work, and it was during COVID, obviously. So they were having her smell. They were having everybody that came in smell like what do you call them? Essential oils.
Oh yeah.
And she was like, nope, that's the control. And they're like, no, it's not. It's
Uh-oh.
mentholatum or whatever.
They were like the first ones that I knew that got COVID. So it was
We
kinda
had a
just very
podcast
early.
the day before.
Yeah, we did. We did. We were kissing. Stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was really worried about him.
It was hot. I was up here holding hands with him.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, we were sitting like this though, really.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway. Yeah, the next day I woke up, she had gone to work, couldn't smell. She came back, she's like, I've got COVID. And I was like, what? Because I was dying. I was like, I guess I do too. Yeah, it was terrible. It was sick. Yeah. My kids are playing their iPads sweating. I mean, it was like some movie stuff, dude. It's crazy.
Sabrina was doing good, but I had the diarrhea.
Oh man,
She
we're
knows.
going there. This is awesome. Yeah, so I didn't get any of that. I had friends that had
lucky.
it that
Don't
got
look at me.
everything, like both
what's
ends.
up? What else? Oh.
Both ends couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
Like couldn't taste.
Sabrina was over there, was like, my lungs are collapsing. I was like, oh yeah, but I was in the pot for 700 hours this week, and she's like, no, she was in bad
Our
shape.
bathroom wall is brown.
Yeah, she was in terrible shape.
Yeah.
Don't ask.
I'm in
did
big
feel like
trouble
your
when I
lung-
get home. I'm in
lungs were
so much
collapsing
trouble when I
like-
get home.
Nah, it's all good. All right, well, there's our COVID talk, folks. Sorry.
We were talking about Ag Mech show and describe some of the entries and the folks the kids that did it and how they placed.
So like we
Talk about the 3 girls first. They're 3
Oh.
senior girls.
3 senior girls. Last year COVID knocked us, but they were
Yeah.
really they're senior girls this year. And they come up to Miss Davis, we want to build a project without any boys. And I was like, okay, it's the most sexist thing I've heard all that. But no, I understood what they wanted. They're like, we want to, they'd won a lot, but they wanted to win on their own and be independent. And so we took them aside and, they know how to run a cutting torch. They know how to, we have a magnetic drill called a mag drill where it has an annular and they drill all these holes. And they built a table this year that's called, we called it a 4x4 positioner table. It uses a series of 5/8 holes and clamps. And it's a 1/2-inch top, 4-inch tube insides. And I'm talking about they torched it by hand and then they ground it. Now the way that I help, I don't weld anything. I walk in there and go, hey, you're about to ruin everything. And that's it. And I might grind on an edge because maybe they're lacking on it, but I've never ever welded on a project or anything. And so they built it. I let them choose the color. and it was what was that color called? It was like a maroon.
It was like a maroon color.
And then we did white pinstripe and everything, and they did it. And they got to Houston, and there's I don't know, probably 100-something tables there, maybe.
They placed third.
Placed third overall.
Wow.
Yeah. They were
That's
on
awesome.
cloud nine. They won a bunch
Bet.
of gear, and we did a conveyor unit. We built it's an adjustable.
It's called a shear conveyor.
shear conveyor.
It's for the iron worker, so you can feed metal into it.
It helps a lot because right now we have the dropping of the hands, the gnashing of teeth when the plate falls, and like, man, we wish we had a conveyor. What's funny is it's built, but we show it at county next year,
So we're not using it
can't
yet.
use it. Yeah.
Use it.
Yeah.
So kids like, we should build a shear. It's like,
So-
our conveyor.
The previous one that got third place, the table, is that a popular thing for people for entrants to make? You said there's 100 of them or 100
Yes.
entries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just a popular item
Yes.
to.
It's
okay.
very.
A lot of schools build tables, and it kind of has to be unique and have.
It's not 144 holes in it.
Yeah, the girls actually drilled with the mag drill 144 holes.
Individual,
in
and
the
they're
top
all
in
lined
a, in
up.
a 4x4
and-
sheet,
Man,
half-inch
cool.
sheet.
I would like for people to see my product if that came out.
Yeah.
Can you imagine 144 holes I drilled, like Coors Light in one hand and like a
Yeah.
drill in the other?
Here, I'll show you a picture. There's one of the girls that's working on the.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
Cool.
that's computer precision right
I think
there.
right now, I think in that photo we staged a lot of photos. She's probably doing a fake measure. Here's
Right.
the measurements. Well, we always build stuff, then I'm like, hey, we didn't, because see,
Well, you have to have books.
Yeah.
And
How
they
many-
have to have pictures, documentation, drawings. And while they're building it, we're not thinking, hey, we better take pictures. So after they are finished with one part of it, like they get the top welded on or the holes drilled, we'll snap a picture with them, like holding a tape measure and stage it for the books.
we just gave away our secrets.
It's called B-roll.
It's okay.
How many times have you said measure twice and cut once?
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
We buy a lot of extra.
Read the sign.
Yeah.
They'll start cutting on the saw, and you'll know in your mind, you're like, that thing's supposed to be 52 inches. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, that's a solid 24. I'm not going to say anything. And they'll cut it and go over there. I'm like, did like the common sense just turn off between here and there? And you know the answer is yes.
We're like, yep.
And yeah, but no, we did the table, the conveyor. We built a set of one of our kids built a set of gorgeous, and they were hard.
Yeah, the gates.
Dual 14-foot long gates, 4-inch tubing, 6 foot tall on one end, 4 on the other. The hinges are dozer pins on the end. They're massive, and like it was one of those situations where I didn't think we were going to get them done because of COVID. Because they were supposed to go to San Antonio, and they're at the school, and the kid had to take them home and work on them, and then we brought them back to the school, and the kid didn't give up. And then
Big backpack.
it's a big backpack,
Be carrying that around.
and we finished those. Those did good. Those placed 6 overall, and you can imagine that every kid wants to build a gate. So I want to build a gate, and they placed 6. I mean, we're a little biased. I thought they were first place gates, but I probably wouldn't be a very good judge either. All my kids won this year.
I feel
Yeah.
like we're gonna have this
Y'all won
show
first.
like a year from now. And they're gonna be like, yeah, now we're forging swords
Yes.
and stuff, and I'm like, man, all this cool stuff.
Well,
What
and we
happened?
do have CNC, and we're working on right now. Hopefully, in the next couple of years, they'll get it for us eventually. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Leonard has spent a tremendous amount. Like they pay for hotel rooms for those kids. A lot of them to travel and do stuff and try to get them involved. Because we have a massive show string, and we can get into the livestock stuff in a minute. But Sabrina can tell you about it. We dominated on the livestock show side, and that's it's amazing. All of it's amazing. But the ag mech always cracks me up because it's like kids that they don't fit into anything. They don't want to do CDEs, LDs, anything. And when I started, I had never done ag mechanics. Even in high school, I'd never done it. And didn't even know the shows existed. I mean, for the most part.
Yeah, I was blown away when
yeah.
I saw the pictures. I was like, that's
I went
Awesome.
down. I went to East Texas and taught, and I took on. I was telling you earlier, I had like a $2.5 million facility, and they're like, "Hey, by the way, we're like, one of the most successful ag mechanics programs ever, and if you don't win, you're gonna be like a loser." So, we jump in there, and the kids are like, "I was like, well, I never built anything." And, the kid's like, "Well, I built a 40-foot gooseneck last year." I was
Yeah.
like, "Well, I was in."
Step it up,
Yeah, I was like,
coach.
I think I made a
Whatever.
rubber band gun,
Yeah.
like something like that.
Well, I learned a lot from those kids. They're like, "You're not managing your time well." I was like, "I need you to." I had a kid come up to me and I was like, I need you to stay on task. We have multiple projects to paint." I was like, I don't like this kid. No, and we have a
You
lot of
gotta
that
have
now.
him tutor you after class.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, you're staying for detention.
Yeah.
Come here, kid.
No, and that's where I picked up on it, and I spent many moons in East Texas. Sabrina and I both did before. We love it here because it's like it's a hometown feel. Leonard's one of those schools they financially provide for you. I meant what I was trying to get on while I got ADHD. You ought to see the projects I don't have finished in my house. Sabrina, she's looking at me like, yeah, the floors. Let me bring up the
We're
floor.
about to witness a marital problem here, aren't we?
No, you don't have to tell me about unfinished projects.
We have a CNC machine. It's been around since '09. It's one of the original. It's called, I love this. It's called an APC, and the kid's like, that's neat. What does it mean? Affordable plasma cutter. It's cheesy. And we retrofit, was it last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
I made a Frankenstein out of
Is
it.
that what it's called?
Yes, it's actually called an APC, so it's cheesy. They have new ones that are like the Scorpion. Yeah. This is a 4x4. It uses basically a rubber band on the side, and it's, I know the microphone. Yeah, Sabrina corrects me. It's all good. But it's one of those deals where I think it was like $10,000 new, and we put a $10,000 plasma cutter out last year. It'll cut up to like 1 3/4 inch thick steel.
Wow.
So when that thing's moving, the kid's like, it's going to explode any minute. And it did crash this past week. We've had issues with this stuff. I mean, was it 12 years old? 09? We're working on buying a big one. Because if we get a big one, the school bought us 2 new, really high-speed, high-definition computers to teach the programs. It takes 3 programs to run that thing.
Yeah.
And I'll teach a kid if they want to learn it. Right now, the interest isn't there because the machine runs.
The CNC is a lot less mechanics. It's a lot more just knowing a software. And
it
knowing
literally
program,
is
right?
a software program system and how to do node editing. It's hours. Sabrina, when we first got married, I would be in the living room, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I've got to fix these drawings for these projects. We're going to cut these plates out." She's like, "Can the kids do it?" No, and that's where Sabrina and I are getting to. We want to eventually get to where we aren't.
Sorry, I was ripping my beef jerky there.
Mark that.
Yeah, mark that. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Y'all want to eventually get to where?
You probably could have not said anything.
I know, probably.
That's perfect.
Yeah, everybody's gonna wonder why we're laughing. Yeah.
No. But no, we're hoping eventually where we can teach that. Like, I literally have a class, I teach CNC, and they run the CNC, and then that's a job they can have. That's a 6-figure job right now.
Yeah.
Those people in East Texas, they'd blow our phones up. Spring and I are both looking for, do you have any kids? Do you have any kids that can come and do this? And right now it's like, do you have kids that can manual labor? I mean, because, no one's going to work right now. Teachers, we're going to work. But no, it's like that's where we want to get to. It's kind of like Sabrina, changed that, wanting to do the floral stuff. I've never taught at that level where I have a bunch of kids in there that may not have any interest in the actual metal, but have interest in programming CNC machines. That's a ton of money.
Right.
I bought a.
I was saying I could make a ton of money right now if I
absolutely.
knew and had one.
I bought a 3D printer like 4 or 5 months ago. It's still in the box because it's overwhelming.
It's
Yeah.
overwhelming. I first started teaching, and they're like, "There's a plasma cutter over there." I was like, "What does it do?" And the kids are like, "Well, what it does is," and I'm like, "These kids are gonna make me look like an idiot." And they taught me a lot of stuff. And then I picked up on it, an extra 1,000 hours at the house, working on it and everything. And y'all can imagine how far they've come. Like, everyone, when I first started teaching, was like, "Man, it's gonna be water jet, John. It's not gonna be CNC. They're gonna be water jet. Water jets are no, they're industrial. They do a lot of aluminum routering." But CNC using a plasma system has become, I bet there's not a school in Texas that doesn't have one right now. And there's tons of builders of them and stuff like that. Of course, I spent many years in East Texas. They built them in Mineola and stuff. But what really was daunting to me, it's like I'm fresh out of college and I'm working at this school, and, they have this plasma cutter in the corner. And they're like, "Hey, just by the way, there's only like 5 in Texas and yours is broken." So I walk in and the kid's like, "Hey, you ought to have seen whenever the gantry broke off at like 2 years ago and all the wires came out." I was like, "Good, is it ran since then?" No. So that's how I dove in. I got a manual, and the kids, they told me, these machines are too complicated to work on. They'll never be successful in school. I was like, well, we can cut within a thousandth of an inch accuracy. Why would we not do this? And it's crazy now, 10, 11 years later, I can go into schools now. Like, they literally build these things and bring them to show. Like, there's actually a class for specialty. Vega built a, what was it, pink? This is pink and white. It was a breast cancer awareness one.
CNC machine?
They built an actual CNC machine.
My goodness.
Yeah, and it didn't even place in its
I'm a
class. Like
loser.
I know.
I'm a loser.
But no, we take gates. We're getting there.
Well, that's like you said that. Well, they told us what CAD was, and then they're like, on to the Pythagorean theorem
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, thank goodness I learned that.
Yeah.
Did y'all have Miss Blackerby?
I never
Did
had
you
her
have-
actually.
I actually never had her either. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I
She was in school
She
while
was
I
teaching
was there.
while I was there, but I never had her. I'm one of very few people that ever had her.
I remember being in school, and we saw the projectors on the wall, and we'd be there, and the kids will tell me now what they're doing. I'm like, you know what we did? She'd come there, John, will you please get up and prove postulate 5.4 with a marker on the board? And you're like, yes. And you look at your buddies going, which one is that? Is that the one with the square?
And
And
Anna had to wake me up to do that.
I learned so much. Like if I wouldn't have paid attention in there, and she wouldn't have failed me. No, just playing. She never failed me. She's a good teacher. Those machines are nothing more than geometrical shapes and patterns. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah.
We had Mike Middleton, who passed away recently.
He
you
did.
really?
I
Saw
heard
his
about that.
didn't know that.
saw his obituary in the
Oh,
paper
man.
somewhere.
R.I.P.
you
Mr.
know?
Middleton.
Mike Middleton passed away. Yeah.
I actually, when he was teaching, went in his class and sat down and got a book out and started like learning the lesson. He looked over. He's like, "You're not in this class, are you?" I said, "No, sir." And he's just funny.
Yeah.
What did you learn today? I was like, "Well, I can sneak in your class, sir, and talk to these people and do do whatever I was doing."
He was
funny
a
guy.
weatherman,
Really? I didn't
He
know
did
that.
weather for 97.5 K-Lake.
and prior to that, he did weather in Vietnam for the Air Force, which I became a weather forecaster in the Air Force.
There you
So
go.
I share some sort of legacy with Mike
Yeah.
Middleton.
I always liked Mike Middleton. He's a smart dude.
He's a smart dude.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Mike
Yeah,
Middleton.
he was a nice guy, a really nice guy.
Who was the other math teacher? Kenneth Williams.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
My senior year.
And-
Showing.
Oh yeah. Moving on.
Livestock showing.
Oh
All right,
man,
You
livestock
said no
showing.
chickens, no
Well,
pigs
at the majors.
in the majors.
Right now, we do not have poultry or rabbits at the major level, but
Rabbits.
we do have poultry and rabbits both at the county level. I have one little girl the past 3 years. She has won reserve grand champion broiler chickens at Fannin County Fair. I told her I've got to bring somebody in to help me pick her 3 that she shows because I'm not picking the grands, I'm picking the reserves. So I've got to get somebody in there to help her so she can get that grand champion. Rabbits, we had a couple of kids make sale this year at Fannin County. Did really well in the market show at Fannin County with lambs and goats and pigs for that matter. Majors this year, we had lambs travel to majors, goats travel to majors, and pigs travel to majors. Our goat shower, she had this year she had reserve grand champion and grand champion boar buck at the San Angelo Livestock Show. I had a young man that had champion Southdown breeding sheep at the Houston Livestock Show and the San Angelo Livestock Show. And then that young man also made sale. I know for sure, I can't remember if it was more than just Austin. I know he made sale at Austin with his market lamb, and I'm thinking that's it this year on making sale with market lambs. We had our pig showers had a first place in class at San Antonio, which is a big deal for first place in
It's a
class.
huge deal.
It's just the classes are so big.
It's basically like winning a state championship in a sport or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
exactly.
But like the young man that won the Southdown show, like he won the entire breed. So I mean
It's
it's a
huge.
huge
Wow.
deal.
Like-
And he got a Houston buckle, which to win a Houston buckle, I mean it's a
Everybody's jealous.
yes.
Yes.
We know
Everybody,
that much.
Yeah, everybody wants a Houston buckle.
So just out of curiosity, like at the county show, how much does like a prize goat go for?
Grand champion goat will go for between $2,000 and $3,000.
Wow.
But
at
it's
the sale.
but
Who
it's a
buys that though?
well, it's a premium sale
Right,
now.
so
So like
it's-
the kid keeps.
Yeah, the kid actually gets to keep the animal because it's a premium sale. But we have several local businesses in town that'll come to county. They'll bid on the animals. There's actually local businesses all over Fannin County that come to the Fannin County sell, and
They bid as a donation to the kid.
yes,
In essence, that's
Right on.
exactly what
pretty
it is.
pretty much.
Pretty
Yes.
I've
a
never
write-off.
understood
I'm
that
sorry
dynamic
if
of
I'm
it.
if I'm buying a goat for $3,000, I'm taking it home.
Gonna have some cabrito.
Even if it's a
It's-
child who
Yeah,
takes care of it. And
it's a $3,000 goat. I'm like,
Okay.
sorry,
Hey.
this is gonna be some goat curry.
goat curry.
Yeah.
you sold me. You sold me on the goat curry.
Goat curry.
Don't they eat goat in like Jamaica too? Like jerked.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like I like the food. I'm eating right
You're
now.
on, you're
Yeah.
on that jerky right now.
But I think y'all could tell like we're getting on that well-rounded stuff, and that's kind of where
Yeah.
Sabrina and I want to be.
We want to have an avenue for every kid
Yeah.
that wants to be an ag, that wants to participate. We want to have something that they can do.
Yep. Sounds like you're on the way there.
Yeah.
if
we are
not there
absolutely.
already.
We are.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed with what I've heard about you guys, what y'all have done, where you're going. You got a lot of good stuff on the horizon. Have we missed anything? I want to talk about the auction.
Oh, that
Oh,
thing
yeah,
was
so the
big.
How'd y'all
auction.
do?
We
Is
made
that the
Booster Club.
Booster Club
Yes.
auction? Okay.
So it's the Friends of FFA Booster Club auction. The Ag Mechanics boys, they build a few projects for it, and the parents of the Booster Club, they go out and get tons of donations, whether it's a gift card or a product or an item. They just go to every business they can think of getting donations for the auction. And this year we raised, I believe, a little over $32,000.
oh,
Whoa.
And,
Yeah, and it goes towards
it
scholarships.
goes towards scholarships. We gave away $30,000 in scholarships this year to 8 seniors.
at the graduation.
Yes.
Is that
Well,
happened
it's
yet?
we
We-
haven't
we-
awarded
We we had we normally have a banquet, an actual FFA banquet.
That's what I was asking.
Yes.
Is the auction, the banquet, the same thing? Or are
No,
they
it's
separate?
different. It's
Okay.
separate. So the auction was April. It was in April. Normally we have it at the school, but with everything that's happened this year with COVID, we weren't allowed to have the auction at the school. So
Or fun.
the Rock Yard in Trenton actually allowed us to have it in their
Right on.
I guess their
outdoor area.
Outdoor area.
The stage.
Yes, so we had
Stage.
it there. Raised over $32,000. And this
Excellent.
past week at our award ceremony, we actually awarded the 8 students their scholarships. So $30,000 in scholarships. went to-
7,000 and change each or so.
Each kid got a little different. So we had one student get 5,000, 2 get 4,500, 3 got 3,500, and 2 got 2,750.
And it
That's
was
great.
And
all
it-
girls.
Yeah, all girls.
Oh.
All girls. We kind of base it. There's a scholarship committee within the Booster Club, and then John and I are ex officio. We just kind of tell them about the kids, and the Booster Club decides, well, these kids get this amount because of their involvement in FFA throughout their high school career. So that's kind of what it's based off of.
I mean, I got a $500 scholarship from Farm Bureau. It's like, hey, thanks for paying your premiums
Yeah,
this year. Here's your returns. Yeah, those kids are good. That's gonna really help them
I
out.
racked up $1,500 and I had to write like 3 essays.
Not
Yeah.
bad.
I think something.
Could
like
you
that.
imagine getting in an ag class now, being involved, and because the auction does well because the community wants the kids to do well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and handing a kid $5,000.
$5,000.
great.
That
Just-
goes a long way.
Oh yeah,
It really does.
might be a couple semesters, maybe
Yeah.
think I got-
Absolutely.
a year worth.
I think I
Yeah.
got $250 from my Mason's Lodge, and I gave it back because I quit college and joined the Air Force.
That was nice of you.
Oh,
Good for you.
sorry. Sorry.
No, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
blame you though.
Kind of felt bad. Here you
That's
go.
excellent.
Yeah,
Um,
and if you think about it, a lot of schools use the auction to pay for their travel.
Travel.
Like Leonard, they take care of us, and that's
Cool.
pretty
Yeah,
pretty
it's
sweet.
a pretty big deal.
good deal. Do you all have to push them hard on that?
No.
we don't.
Would you say if you did?
Yes.
Yes. No.
Yes.
Sabrina and I are pretty. No,
That
I
was
just
the
like,
reaction I was going
yes, his
for.
face. No, and that's kind of where I stopped teaching because when you want to grow a program and you can't grow a program, you're just sitting there,
Spinning your wheels.
Yes,
Yep.
like you said you do meteorology,
Mhm.
right? Like right now, it's today's rain, and you're like, please be sunshine so I can get on there. Nope. Yes.
Spinning my wheels.
Yeah. But no, it when Sabrina took over, and every teacher does something different, and that's kind of what I like. Like Leonard wasn't a program that was completely gone, like because if you don't have elected officers and you don't hold offices and you don't do that stuff, your program loses its charter. You have to have all that stuff to go with it. So Sabrina getting to do her thing, and then of course us being married, people ask us all the time, does Sabrina get tired of you? She won't say it, but the answer is
Yes.
yeah. Oh yeah, she gets tired of me. But we don't get tired of each other. We get to travel a lot together.
Yeah.
I mean, we were in a hotel room on the way back during the ice storm from San Antonio when we both got to share COVID.
Yeah.
I got COVID and gave it to her, so it's like,
See, they should thank you. They're saving money by one hotel room, right?
True.
absolutely.
Yes,
One
absolutely.
hotel.
Yes.
It's all about that bottom line.
Yeah, and we nailed COVID right where we didn't actually miss work. So it's like,
Yeah, we had COVID during the snow.
Oh,
and ice,
man.
So
Perfect.
You didn't get
school was out
is that
anyway.
good, I guess?
That's good.
It's
good for
yeah,
y'all.
good for us.
That'd wear me out. Not get to go out and play in the snow.
I didn't go out and play in the snow at all.
I did every day.
It was terrible. So
Every
cold.
day.
So cold.
Because I didn't take a shower
I didn't take a shower either.
for like 5-6
I
days.
still haven't.
Lord.
Oh, man.
Well, have we missed anything? Anything y'all want to talk about or bring up? It's the end of the year for you guys. So if you want to
Yeah.
acknowledge anybody or the senior class or whatever, this is your chance. Got any seniors going away?
All our seniors, really.
Well, obviously you have seniors going away.
They're all going away there, moron.
Hey, man. I caught myself.
I mean, all of our seniors, we've got several that have been really involved in our program. They really become like family to us. We
Yeah, they
we
do.
spend so much time together and travel so much together that we grow to love them just like their family. And, I mean, they're going to be missed. But I think all of them are heading the right direction going to college, and they've kind of got plans of what they want to do. So,
Well, we built a family. Like,
Yeah.
we had a kid this year, her parents couldn't make it for whatever reason because parents are busy. And I thought it was the coolest thing. She was like, retiring her jacket, and she gave it to Sabrina. She's like, that's my
school mom.
My school mom.
She said my biological parents can't be here, so I'm going to give it to my school mom.
That's
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is really
So-
cool, and that's
Pretty sweet.
why we do it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, when I got out of it, and I'd be on the road. Can you imagine oil field, sitting by a porta pot? Hey, I was a school teacher last year. What'd you do? Well, I just got out of prison. Oh, okay. Well, while we stand here the next 2 hours discussing why I'm here, and I call her, how was your day? It's great, John. I changed the lives of children. I was like, you know what I did? I cut a bunch of gate valves out of the ground and watched a guy shoot meth. No,
It's exciting.
It's
now.
exciting, though.
You never know what's going to happen.
Hey, look, I didn't know you could do spoons like that. That's neat. No, and I tell the kids all the time, they're like, Mr. Davis, did you do stuff in the oil field? I did. It's a wonderful world out there. Let me explain it to you. And I had an 8th grade class that I told them that story this year, and looking back, probably not 8th grade material, but we're working on it. Serena's like,
It's a
I'm
great
taking-
place of no cocaine or
There's
methamphetamine.
Yeah.
Just
And Serena came out and called it, and I was like, hey, I told my drug story today, and I don't know if it was appropriate. And she just died laughing. She's like, no,
It
not really.
wasn't.
No, not really.
Yeah.
And but it is.
Great story, though.
Yeah.
you just needed confirmation that it wasn't a good story.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, the kids, at the end of the year, I was like, so what did y'all really enjoy? Was it the woodworking? Was it all the stuff? They're like, no, man. We told the oil field story. I was like, okay, well, that's great. So, no, we had a great year.
We got a few questions for you.
We got
Okay.
a section of the show called 5 Questions. And
Uh-oh.
here
Okay.
it goes.
I almost passed over this question because y'all are both from Texas, and I think I know what the answer is going to be. But we'll go with it. If your birth state was a food, what would it be?
Enchiladas.
Okay, all right. It's good. It's not where I was going with it. It's good.
If
If your birth state was a food, what would it be?
is it a delicatessen? Is it fruit? Is it a specific thing?
Yeah, man. What do you associate Texas with? Come on, it's not that hard.
Assuming
You just told a meth story. Let's do this.
Tacos.
Okay,
Tacos.
They
meth
both
tacos.
Yeah.
Soft tacos.
they both went not what I was expecting. So that's a good one.
Hispanic. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. I'm a big fan of Tex-Mex, and I agree with both of you.
You're probably going to say barbecue.
Brisket, yeah.
I knew
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Oh, that's what most people say. So
Yeah.
Like, nobody cooks it right anymore.
yeah. I don't know about that. I don't know. I cook it right.
Somebody does.
Yeah. I just
When-
got a pellet smoker, and he cooks it right.
When was the last time you were on a boat?
Does a jet ski count?
Sure.
Yeah,
Last-
watercraft.
Last summer.
Okay.
We have a
Alright.
sweet jet ski. We go out all the time.
We have
You have one?
We have a boat, but it's not put together. I won't get
You have a
into
jet
that
ski?
story. Yeah,
We
we do
do.
have a jet ski.
I do too. I need to go
Sweet.
riding with somebody.
You know those
That'd be great.
those ginormous Genesis Polaris that came out years ago that that lady got killed on and they stopped making them? We have one of those.
Nice. Nice.
Polaris
It's called
boat, like jet boat.
Jet ski.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
a Polaris jet ski.
Yes, they
Okay,
made
gotcha.
them till '03. You'd be amazed how many parts I've had to manufacture that they don't sell anymore.
On that
Right
On that
on that CNC.
broke CNC
Yeah, on that-
plasma cutter.
on that LHS dime.
Yeah, that affordable plasma cutter.
We can edit
man.
that part out if you
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
What is the last thing you were looking at on your phone's web browser?
Ooh.
It's a good one. I like that one. I'm
You
going
got
to look at mine and see.
I don't have my phone. I was
Oh, we're
looking at-
totally going to Houston this weekend.
Oh, I
and
was looking
Oh,
for
I'm not saying that
Domino's
out loud.
Pizza
Oh, for
phone number
lunch.
today. I was looking for Domino's Pizza phone number.
Okay,
Not sure
Domino's
mine
Pizza number. I've got Theo Vaughn's Wikipedia pulled up. Is that weird? Is that
I
weird,
also
Matthew?
have Domino's.
No. 'Cause
Okay.
he showed
Nope.
up in my.
Domino's.
He's in a movie coming out.
Is he?
Yeah,
That's
it's called The
that's
Tomorrow
exciting.
War.
Mine's on my website.
Okay, go for it.
What is the furthest you've traveled north, south, east, and west from here?
Have you been to Alaska or Canada?
No, we've been to the Bahamas.
Okay, that's
East?
southeast.
We're going east or
That's
south?
East.
We've been
That's definitely south.
to
Is this,
Montana.
when Montana?
It's north.
Nice. That's almost Canada. That's
Yeah.
Canada light. I got it.
We've been
In a Chevy
to
Cruise. You got to tell me it's in a Chevy Cruise.
Jamaica.
Stupid drive.
Well, we
That's
flew
south.
to Colorado and rented a Chevy Cruise and then drove it to Montana.
Cool.
What part of Montana?
Billings.
Bozeman. Helena.
No, wait, did we go to Wyoming or Montana?
We go over this every time. We straight went to Wyoming.
Oh, we went to Wyoming,
went
not
to Wyoming.
Montana.
I would have tell the story.
Jackson Hole.
I don't get to correct
Jackson
anything.
Hole.
Cheyenne.
Cody.
We went to Cheyenne.
Yeah, it was Cheyenne,
Went to
Wyoming.
Cheyenne.
Laramie.
God dang, Cheyenne's nice, but y'all didn't really. Y'all should have
It's the
kept
capital.
going for a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were in a Chevy Cruise, and I'm
You
almost
couldn't
6
go
foot.
anymore?
Yeah, it's like, we're done. We're done.
Devil's Tower. It's Idaho.
That's out there.
It's
Yeah.
Idaho, right?
Yeah.
And we've
No,
been
No, no, the
That's-
Tetons.
The Tetons
Or
are
is that
both
both?
Wyoming, Idaho, all that.
we've
yeah.
been to Jamaica.
Nice. So
Yeah.
is
that,
he.
that would be south.
I never have.
Furthest south, furthest east is the Bahamas. Furthest north is the Montana.
Wyoming.
Let's go. Sorry, Wyoming. Yeah. West.
Does a connecting flight in Phoenix count?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Connecting flight in
Yeah.
Phoenix.
That Phoenix Airport,
Yeah.
Phoenix International.
Body traveling counts. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we were going to go to California, and then we were like, oh, California. Don't do
Yeah,
that.
there's a bunch of liberals out there. It's
Well,
fine.
I went to Florida. I went to Florida multiple times, and I think most of it wasn't vacation. It'd be something like this. Dad'd be like, hey, I know it's your senior year and it's Christmas. Do you want to go buy a semi and drive it back in horrible condition? I'm like, that's a great
That
idea.
sounds like a great plan. Okay, so mine.
Last
Let's
one.
see. If there was, I like this one. This is a good one. If there was an Olympics for everyday activities, what activity would you win a gold medal at? Were you bringing home for the gold? Like for me, it's fixing coffee in the morning. I'm good at that. Man, they're confused. I don't like it. I don't like it.
You
I'm
get some
thinking.
blank stares.
I know.
It does take some
Uh,
thought.
They're like, I'm not good at anything. Really?
Like I can make a killer bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
John does make his own breakfast.
Dude,
That's pretty good.
That's
That's
about
just
it.
kind of the minimum standard, though, really.
you got to see
Yeah.
me try to boil water. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
cook an
he
egg.
can't cook.
I think like I use a lot of humor. I joke with kids like all day. Like I don't think I've ever called.
That's what you say you gold
Yeah.
medal at?
Yeah.
I
Like
don't,
when
know, I don't know if I agree.
Relating through comedy.
Yes.
Yeah, really? Okay.
like that.
Yeah,
That's a
I'll take
good
that.
answer.
I'll take that.
I don't know. That's it. That's gonna almost call it on that. That's all I've got.
I'm going to say Sabrina just kind of copes. You know?
You
Like
must be
she's
the
good
cook
at
then.
coping
I do cope.
with
She deals with me. She deals with me. No.
Coping gold medal.
Yep.
Yeah. There we go.
What would you say, Sabrina? What is it?
I don't know.
Okay. Let me just say this.
Are you the cook?
Organization.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, there you go.
organization,
That's
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That one stumps everybody.
It does.
You
It's
know?
tough.
Yeah. I'm just really.
Nobody wants to say what they're good
Oh
at.
no, paperwork.
Oh.
I'm really good. I love doing paperwork.
She'd be like, do you
That's
remember
my
6
favorite
months
thing of
ago
my
You're the
when you
only
went to
person
Harbor
I've ever
Freight?
heard say that.
Yeah.
Hey, honey, it's tax time.
Yeah. Yes. Thank God. Yeah.
I'll buy something at a gas station.
Do you have any documents I can organize?
Did you buy gas on like? And she remembers dates too. Watch this. Serena, when we go on our first date?
January 29th, 2012.
I'm like this. What did we eat? Don't know. And Serena's like, well, we had filet
I
mignon.
know what I
burger."
know what
Yes.
we ate on our first date too.
That's
I had filet. Of
ridiculous.
course, you had grilled chicken.
Yes. And you didn't even like it. Yeah. That's what Serena is like. She could win a gold. Yeah. It's
My
some
first-
paperwork organizing.
I remember when I don't remember the exact date, but it was March 2005 with my wife, and we went and saw Constantine.
I couldn't tell you the date offhand, but it was at the pub in
Yeah.
McKinney.
Ooh, that's a
I
good
mean,
place.
technically, I was I was embarrassingly drunk, but I was throwing some flirtatious vibes at my wife on her birthday of March 3rd. So
True.
that
That's true.
could
I was
be
there.
arguative our first date.
I was there.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, he can back me up here. Well, hey, listen,
think
we
we're
love
there.
what you're doing at the school. I think it's great. I think it's outstanding. It's really, it's obviously impactful to kids. We joke a lot and stuff, but that's, kind of the impetus behind this podcast was to talk about our community and being a positive impact, and I think y'all are doing that.
I'm a little bitter I didn't build better skills when I was in high school, and y'all are doing that. So, or at least helping kids do that, and that's a big deal.
Yeah. Hopefully, you won't have a couple of late 30s podcasters come out of y'all's class. Yeah, we're what you could have been.
We did take
kids.
classes on how to make fun of yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got A's in that class.
Right. But really, thank y'all, and thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having
We
us.
appreciate it. We
Thank
really
y'all very much. We are out of here.
Yeah, have a good one.